We are talking about careers in accounting. We're still under the tax umbrella. We talked about tax compliance. We talked about tax planning. The third area I want to talk to you about is dispute resolution, or what they call controversy resolution. And this is a very specialized field. And this is people who, when you get your notice from the IRS or the state or whatever the government is that is your jurisdiction, that says, hey, you owe a bunch of money, or we want to come in and audit you, these controversy specialists show up on the scene, right? So they'll represent you in an audit, they'll represent you in tax court. They spend a lot of time in tax court, although a lot of these get resolved outside of court. So it's really specialized, and because of that, the pay is pretty good, right? Most of them are attorneys. You can do it and not be an attorney. You know, like the person who does my taxes, she's a CPA and an enrolled agent, and she can do that on a low scale. But if I owed a bunch of money and I went to hire someone, it would probably be a tax attorney. So I would say most, if not all, of the people in this field are tax attorneys, which means you're going to law school. But basically, you're going to be just fighting with the IRS. You're fighting with the IRS. You're fighting with the state governments. Sometimes it's not about income tax. Maybe it's about sales tax. There was a law or a court case that changed the way that companies have to charge state sales tax in the for internet purchases. And so, you know, tax attorneys, that gave them a whole bunch of work. You can do it domestic or you can do international. In fact, all of these tax things, you can become an international expert, right? So you can be living here in the US, but you're like, I know all about French law. And when my company, because we have a subsidiary in France, gets audited, I can go fight that. So there's a little bit of an opportunity for some travel. Most of your large companies will do this in-house. Some of your small to mid-sized companies will outsource it. So you may have tax attorneys they might be in a law firm, they could be in a CPA firm. Either of those might offer those services. And you probably see some infomercials from, you know, the ones who are like, hey, if you've got an IRS debt, we can settle it for you. There's a period of time when you can do that. So there's, you know, those, you can go out on your own. I don't know how much money they make, but I know if you're working for a company, I mean, pretty much because you're coming out of law school, you're going to be starting out in the low six figures. Now, of course, you're going to have all that law school debt, but, you know, and it just goes up from there. And again, word gets around who's good. And the people who are good at this are really invaluable because, especially for bigger companies, because local governments like to go after deep pockets. I will tell you, the company I used to work for, Oracle, was under constant audit. The IRS, they would finish one year and just start back in the next year. And finish one year and just start back in on the next year. So they were always saying, how about this, how about this, how about this? And the person who ran our controversy department, she was always having to get on the phone with them and say, nope, this is why this is okay. Also, we talked about tax planning. Sometimes the tax planning people are going to want to take an aggressive position. And you, the tax controversy specialist, you're going to have to defend that position. So you need to know what's getting reported on the return, why we reported it that way, and how to defend against the IRS or other taxing agencies. So if you're kind of thinking like, ooh, law school might be a cool thing for me, but I really dig accounting, tax controversy might be a great field for you. You definitely can't be shy. You gotta be pushy. You have to be able to vigorously defend your company or your client's position. So no shrinking violets in this one, but it's definitely a very lucrative field. All right. I think that's going to sum it up for tax.